Alright, welcome to Razor's Armory and our reloading series. So let's get reloading.
Okay. Today we're working on some brass preparation. We're going to do some reloading. I've looked at this case here. It's got a pretty bad, not necessarily split, but there's a dimple there in the top. I don't like it, so just throw it in the scrap pile. There's no need at all to take a risk on any of them. Any kind of split, any kind of crack, any kind of deformation that you don't like, just get rid of it. There's no reason to take any risk on it. It's so plentiful. All I'm doing right here is just knocking out the primers. Some of these will still have the military crimp in it. This one does not, but we'll deal with that later. I like to go ahead and run them this way first. I like to punch the primers out. Sorry, I'm going backwards. I like to punch the primers out and then clean them. Deformation here isn't so bad. That's going to actually open up when you resize it. Nothing like that. A little flat base, that's not a problem. You just don't want this surface here to be any different. It should be flat all the way across. And that'll trim out as well and everything if it's a little off. But that's nothing to worry about. That's just from the bottom of the bolt and the way the round is pulled out of the firearm. So we just basically stick this little rod in there. It's a little dirty, hadn't been used in a while. We stick it in there, find that primer in the pocket down there, put it against the top, simply squeeze out the primer and it just pops on out of there. Gives us a open in there. And that one there is not a military crimp either. Let's see what goes in that bucket. So I would just go through this. It's an easy way to do it. This is the first time any of this brass has been reloaded. That's why we go through this lengthy process of doing them this way, because after they're cleaned, and then I'll go through another process of actually resizing them with the press, actually swaging them back into shape. This one has the military crimp here, so that'll have to actually be removed before a new primer can be put in. There's swaging tools that you can actually swage that back into the brass. We simply have a brass prep tool that just trims it right off. It's quick and easy, and you can go through the rest of the cleaning processes when you're prepping your brass that way after it's been sized. So, but that's that. So like I said, we just go through a few of these here. There's no reason to do the whole bucket because I've got a pretty good sized bucket already ready. And I missed that one, but it's got a split right there in the end of the case there. So that one will go in the scrap bucket as well. But this case can also be used, if the split's very small like this, it can also be used for 300 blackout casings or also M1 carbine. So we'll put this in a different pile so we can actually trim this one down and use it for a different round. Yep. And real quick, this is the media we use. We're using a Tumbler rock tumbler, and it's actually made to handle up to 12 pounds of rock and media and water. I've seen bad reviews on it, but I absolutely love it. Have never had a problem with it. Actually, one time the bucket got off the track and it actually locked up. The motor got hot and actually froze up. Freaked me out because I didn't know it happened. Unplugged it, let it sit and cool off for 30 minutes to an hour, plugged it back in, and it just chugged right along like nothing happened. So it's very, very tough. I don't care what anybody says. The belt has never broke on us. I've been using it for about a year now, and I generally fill this thing up to capacity, and it's generally about 20 pounds when it's done, and that's not really what it should be doing, but I overload it and it still works great. These stainless steel pins, they're I don't know, a centimeter or so, very small. They can actually go through and into the primer cups and clean all that out as well. Love it. Any vibratory cleaner or anything like that you're gonna get, this thing is gonna beat it hands down. It's just really is the best way to do it. If you're gonna be cleaning brass, the wet tumbler way is the best way.
Go.
Okay, and now we're gonna clean our brass. We've already deprimed and checked this brass. There's one there that got through. I was going in the wrong buckets there, back and forth a couple of times. But we're just gonna put 100 or so. Sometimes I do more. But I also put brass in there like that sometimes. And this is, we call this bathtub brass. We've had the bathtub in the back of my house for for years and years, as long as we've lived here, 10 years or so now. And every time we shoot, we just throw the brass in the bathtub. It's been filled with dirt and tree limbs and mulch and all kinds of crap over the years. And it comes out looking like this, but believe it or not, when this is done, it'll look just as good as any of the others. We get a good amount in here. I'd say that's right around 100 or so. And we'll go inside and we'll prep the water. Okay, here at my house, I have the water heater set to a very high temperature. I like very hot water. So what I generally do is let's use distilled water. I'm running off a well where I live. We're out in the county. We have a water softener on there that actually makes the water the same as distilled water. I have no issues with hard water or anything like that, staining the brass or anything like that. You give it a few minutes to get it good and warmed up. It's pretty hot right now. I'm going to go ahead and fill this thing up just above the brass or so. Give it a little bit, like I said, I'm not going to overload it this time. Just going to give it a little bit of water here till it's just over the brass or so. Let whatever air bubbles are in the brass come up. We're going to put that in there. I'm going to go ahead and use some old Dawn dish soap. I'm going to put in a few drops here and there. And then we're going to use the old one-shot supersonic cleaner because it's all I got. And I've tried it, and over the last year, I've used about half of it or so, and it works. It's not necessarily what should be used. About a capful or so, a couple tablespoons really, you know, not a whole bunch. It works great in the ultrasonic cleaner, so I decided to try it out in the tumbler, and it works great in the tumbler as well. So we go ahead and secure the top. Got to work it around. This hard rubber, it's really good. It makes a great seal. I've never had an issue with it leaking. It's tough to get on, but if it wasn't so tough to get on, it wouldn't seal so well, I guess. Then we tighten down the clamp and we put it on the tumbler, and we'll do that. All right, we got the tumbler here right next to the old Hornady ultrasonic cleaner. Works great. Gotta thank Dean for that. He got a big hot tub, so I get the little one, and I absolutely love it. I've cleaned a few guns with it. It works wonderful. A little bit of brass, but it's better for gun parts. And basically we set it on there, right there where it'll roll, and plug it in and let it go. It makes a little bit of noise, but it's actually kind of soothing, maybe like a waterfall or a babbling brook or something like that. I got it set the wrong way, that's what it was. There we go. If I put the clamp on the right side, and it'll just ride in those little tracks, the little bumpers keep it lined up. It'll actually touch them, and it works best if it's on a level surface. And that thing there's generally pretty level. It works pretty good on there. And with as dirty as that brass was, we'll let it run for about an hour or so, but I generally go by the touch. If it's cool to the touch after putting that hot water in there, I figure it's good and clean by then. And I also touch the motor back here and see if it's hot, and it generally gets pretty warm sometimes if it's overloaded, but it shouldn't be that bad. This'll run out really nice, and we'll have a little bit more of that when it's clean. Okay, this is what the brass looks like when it's finished. I was told to do a little video and show how dirty it is. The water that comes out of here is fairly nasty when it's bad and dirty brass. So here you go, just a little idea of how bad the water is there. It's pretty nasty. These will probably have to go again because I loaded it up with quite a bit. And I shouldn't put so much in there, but it's okay. You can see inside there that they're looking pretty good, but there's some bathtub brass in there that still needs to go. But the other ones are looking fairly good. I overloaded it. Now the 223s we did the other day, I'm going to be working on those tonight. I'm going to be resizing those. This is what they look like after they're cleaned. These didn't have to go again. They're pretty dirty, the water was, but not as bad as that. These will have to be washed again.